Hello, welcome to April 1st, 2023. My name is Kurt, and this is my daily Good Life meditation. This is something that I do each and every morning just after waking up. It's now 4:33 a.m. I do this in order to remember my life objectives and principles, those which are outlined in my book, Going Alone, in the chapter titled The Good Life. I also use this time to think about the last 24 hours, including my sleep last night, and to plan for the coming day. Namely, to see how I did in the last 24 hours with challenges and opportunities which came my way, and to plan for what I can forecast for today. Plan out how my day, what objectives I want to, what goals, what tasks I want to complete today, and what challenges I might see, how I'll handle them. So, yesterday was a bad day. I had a panic attack at work. I'm a little embarrassed to say that. Feels kind of, feels weak. I almost wish it had been a heart attack. Not really. But because I feel like I could say that with greater comfort. It took me a while to kind of be able to say that I had a panic attack. Now, this isn't the first time that this has happened, I think. There was a time back in mid-COVID when I had several incidents like this, but they were different. This one I thought was a heart attack yesterday. So I'll explain what happened, and then I'll explain what happened, a couple of years ago when I had something similar happen, and what I plan to do from here. So, without needing to give any particulars, I was in a very stressful meeting at work. It's been a couple of tough weeks. Last week was tough. We had some challenges, unexpected challenges on one of my projects, and it was a stressful meeting. And unexpectedly stressful. I didn't see that coming at all. And if I had to put it on a level of stress, if there was a 0 to 10 scale, I would have given that meeting maybe a 6. I've had much worse. While I was in the meeting, I was an online meeting in Microsoft Teams. I began to feel a pressure on my chest, like a weight, as they say, and constriction around my heart, pain kind of. And then I began to feel numbness in my hands and tingling in my hands, and that persisted, and the tension in the meeting persisted. And it actually got worse. And this feeling intensified. The pressure increased, the pain, the sense of, it was at that point it was kind of a foggy feeling. I guess that's a good way to describe it. Kind of like just like a foggy haze over my head. And finally, I got to a point after it must have been about 5 to 7 minutes, maybe as long as 10 minutes of just increasingly getting worse. And remember, I'm in this little room, and Yumiko was in her room. After I started to feel like I might pass out, and I didn't want that to happen. No, well, I got to give you a little bit of information. My father died of a heart attack, and he was 4 years younger than me when that happened, and he didn't come out of it. And I was sitting here in my chair in the meeting, this difficult meeting, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to pass out right in front of my coworkers, but they're going to have no way to reach my wife. So I said, I raised my hand. I said, everybody, I need to leave I'm having a little bit of a problem here. I'm going to bug out of the meeting. And I clicked the end of the meeting, and I got up and I went into the other room with Yumiko, and I said, Yumiko, I think I might be having a heart attack. And the main thing was I wanted to be in the same room with her in case I did collapse, so she would know. So I laid down on the sofa, and it didn't get better. And within a couple more minutes, I really felt like I was going to pass out, and all of these things were more intense, and especially the sense of weight. In fact, I can feel it a little bit right now as I remember it. As I breathe in, when I breathe in, there would be like this pain right where my heart is, and I thought, "Damn it, I'm having a heart attack." And I thought, I don't want to die just because I am embarrassed to go to the hospital. So I said, Yumiko, I think I better go. And she was all for that. And we found, I didn't know that you could, if you have an emergency, you can just go to any emergency room. I didn't know that. So I chose the clinic just down the street, the Kaiser clinic just down the street. We went there. They were great. They took care of me, put me on the EKG. They had a real tough time getting a reading because I was shaking so much. Literally, my whole body, upper body was trembling. They finally got the EKG reading, and the doctor came in later and read it and said that she did not think I had a heart attack, but instead that I had a panic attack, which I did not really understand at that point. I didn't know what a panic attack is. I thought a panic attack was when you just lose it because because life is too hard, and you've had enough, and really you need to change something. And maybe that's what it is. In fact, I don't know. It kind of felt like panicking, right? Like not being in control. So I was discharged, of course, and I came home. I took the rest of the day off. I sent messages to the people that had been in that meeting to let them know that I'm all right, and then I took the rest of the day off, and I walked with the dogs and took it easy, so to speak. And then that's what happened. Now, I'll add just a few more things. It was coincidental, perhaps, in the morning, as I was getting ready for work, and maybe I set myself up for this. I don't know. I was combing my hair, getting ready to come in to sit down to start my day, and I was combing the hair, and I did this, and I looked over, I saw my hand, and my hand was really weird. Something was wrong with it. It was like swollen and discolored. It just seemed something was wrong. I thought I even saw wrinkles on it. It was strange. I remember thinking, and I've never done this in my life. I'm looking at my hand and saying, "Oh no," because I remember that just before my dad died of his heart attack, his feet had been discolored and swollen, and I remember seeing that. I didn't know what it was. His ankles were all swollen, and later I learned that was a warning sign. And I looked at that, and I literally, yesterday morning before the work started, I said, "Oh, Mo," and I said to myself, maybe today's the day. And then all of that occurred, and so that was another one of the catalyst things that caused me to decide to go to the see the doctor. All of a sudden, it wasn't an emergency room; it was just a crash to the clinic. So why do I say this isn't the first time? But it was different. It was different. For a couple of years during COVID, I was working at another place. And it was really hard. There's no need for any details. But I would wake up in the middle of the night, and I would have what I called then a panic attack. And I think it was, but it was definitely different in a way. But maybe it wasn't. I would lay there in bed. I couldn't sleep. This is kind of the start of when I couldn't begin to sleep, and then the problems that I have, which are much better now. But still. And I would lay there, and I would just lay there awake, thinking about the problems at work, the problems I was going to have to face when I got up in the morning, and it would just build and build and build until finally I would be hyperventilating. And I don't remember pain in my chest. I don't remember that weight, that feeling like a heart attack. But I remember hyperventilating, being very emotional and distraught. And that happened maybe 4 or 5 times over the course of about a 1 or 2 month period, 1.5 month period perhaps, a really intense period. That was when I decided that I was going to leave that place and go change jobs. And I did, but it took me another year before I did, because I stayed and finished the projects I was on before I left that place. Anyway, I'm guessing that I thought that's what panic attacks were about. I thought panic attacks would be, would have a precursor or a trigger, so to speak, of some sort of an intense emotional feeling, panic, worry and panic, etc., right? That leads up to it, and then it would be like, because that's what it was before. This was different. I wasn't necessarily upset. I was not pleased with the way the meeting was going, but I wasn't nothing like I was in the past. And yet this thing just came out of nowhere. So afterwards, it didn't come out of nowhere. It came definitely out of the circumstance. So afterwards, I talked around to some of my friends, and I learned that I'm not alone, that others have experienced the same thing frequently. I have friends that have gone to the emergency room. I learned because I talked to them, as much as 3 times go to the emergency room because of this. Because the thing is, you don't know. The symptoms are so similar to a heart attack, and the doctor even confirmed that it's hard to know, and it's best to have it checked out. I mean, it could in fact be a heart attack, and I think I'm in a vulnerable demographic, especially with my family history. So I'm a little bit embarrassed that all this happened, but now that I've talked about it, I don't feel so embarrassed. I guess I'm just human. Yumiko and I afterwards, we had lunch together afterwards, and then we talked, and then we walked the dogs in the evening. We had a good talk again, and we're gonna look to try to expedite our return to Japan. We have a plan, and we're still going to execute that plan. That plan involves making sure that our daughter finishes. We don't want to leave here until she's finished with school and settled into a life of her own. It's going to be rough for her to start. So, but we have a new plan to even facilitate that, while also facilitating the transition, because we both have very stressful jobs, and we need to get out of these jobs. They're going to kill us, or if not kill us outright, definitely degrade the quality of our health to the point that we have years shaved off of our lives and be weakened and made more vulnerable to disease and death. It's just not a good way to live. I feel lucky that I have a chance to, just about anybody could, right? I mean, it's all a matter of how much you expect out of life. And I expect very little. I just want the peace of a simple, humble life. All right, so that was my incident from yesterday. Let's do the good life. My 7 objectives are to be always ready to die. And was I? Let me just dwell on that. How did I deal with that? Because Yumiko was driving me to the ER. I was sitting there in the chair thinking I was going to pass out, and wondering if I was going to blink out and that would be the end. I think I actually handled that part pretty well. I wasn't unduly concerned about that. What was on my mind was, does Yumiko remember how to find all of the information for our bank accounts? Because I've got it stashed away in a safe and visible place. But I was thinking, and so I actually told her. No, I didn't actually. I started to tell her, but I didn't. But I was thinking about practical things, and I was thinking, well, what are they going to do with my body? Because we drove past the cemetery, and I was thinking, I remember thinking to myself, well, I haven't been clear enough on that. I don't. So I'm going to have to be more clear with her about that. Maybe write all that stuff down. And I leave that in a document on the same place with the. In fact, at the clinic they gave us documents which are like we can fill out, which explain all of that. So I'll do that. Anyway, so I guess I am ready to die. Don't want to. I still want to hang around. I'm enjoying life, but I guess I'm ready. Number 2 is to make good and effective use of my time. 3 is to develop and maintain good and sound life principles. 4 is to cultivate good emotional reactions. 5 is to perform good actions. 6, recognize true limits and true opportunities. And 7, to do just one thing at a time and do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully. 34 principles. See if I can find them all fast. War, reason, homunculus, anchor hold, home of good and evil, purpose, atomic principle, principle of nature, the pirate ride, maturity, social principle, family, temperance. I feel like I'm missing one right there. Temperance. Life will not go well. The home of good and evil. That which must be born. The feast of woeful. The best seat in distraction. Agency in the great indifference. The best seat in the house. The restless man, the path of wildness, the great life adventure, the risk of avoiding risk, sin and damnation, complete oblivion, the season of philosophy, script writing, the bullseye aim, the uphill climb, arena and utility, nothing is enough. Missing the principle of fun. I missed one. What is it? I can almost see it. What did I miss? I don't know. 33. That's good enough. Oh, what am I going to do about all this for the work? I'm going to try to not take things so seriously at work. Good luck. I don't know that I don't have it in me. Don't know that I have that in me. As for today, I'll finish this, upload this, type out my words, read the first chapter of Zephaniah in the Bible, and then edit one page of Freeway Bible Study. Then I'll update my blog, update my journal, go to the beach, do the book reading, come home, clean the house, have lunch with my wife, go shopping, and then hang out for the rest of the day. Thanks for joining me. I wish you all the best. Take care of yourself. I'm going to do the best to take care of myself. Be safe, but not too safe. And with that, my life is done, if not finished. Take care.